It is Halloween week, and I thought, what better guest to have on the show but the ones that probably create some of the props that you are watching on Netflix, TV, all the good stuff. I have with me Rick and Matt from Bearded Skulls Makeup and Effects Group. Oh, I knew. I was so close, Rick. I was so close.
Yeah. Thanks for having us.
Yeah, thank you.
Yes, thank you. You guys are, I know, super busy, and to make time to come here and talk about this, especially on this week, just meant so much to me. So thank you again.
No, not a problem. Anytime, actually.
Yeah, we love to talk.
Yeah, especially him.
It's actually for the best that you're catching me after a full system collapse, because otherwise you might be like, I don't know about doing this again.
You be chatty Cathy.
Sometimes,
very much.
Sometimes.
I don't think I've seen that side of you yet. So
You will.
Okay, all right.
Definitely will.
Well, I loved starting off with how you guys got here, and we were just talking before the show, and you were sharing just a little bit of your growing up, and it's pretty. I was like, I knew there was a little bit, but tell me more.
Okay, so I was actually born in Iran. My dad worked at the American Embassy, and the particular department that he worked with worked a lot alongside the CIA. And they kind of knew the shit was going to hit the fan like a year and a half before, because there was rumblings of it. And he basically got the entire family out, and we ended up, traveling all over Europe. And then we came to the United States and went up and down the East Coast and landed on Long Island. And that's where I spent my first 15 years in the United States, at least. And then my sister had moved here back in the early 80s with her husband. And my parents got tired of, the cost of living and the hard winters and all that, and dragged us down here to Wilmington. And yeah.
And so how many years have you been here?
I moved here in 87.
Okay.
Yeah.
So you're technically not a transplant no more. You're officially resident.
I remember the day that I said y'all.
Y'all.
Like, holy shit, what was that?
And who did you hug first? When I came here, when I was here long enough, I said y'all. Yes, ma'am. No, sir. And my parents were like, who the hell are you? Because you became polite. And I'm like, oh my gosh, it's a South thing.
It happens. It does.
Matt, how did you get here?
I was born in Raleigh, and my family bounced around in that area for a long time. So I'm from North Carolina. I moved to Wilmington in 2011, I believe, for the film school and, the film stuff in general happening here. But it's been long enough now that it feels like Wilmington's home. Yeah.
Well, yeah, and you're not a transplant. I think it's after 10 years, you're full resident. That's what I've been told anyway. Mm-hmm. And no one's called me a transplant for a while. I've been here 12, so I think we're safe.
Nice.
Okay, so I didn't tell these guys what you actually, I kind of said that you built the props and stuff. And
more than that.
Yeah, okay. Yeah, okay. So tell me, correct me here.
So what our company does, we actually handle every kind of makeup need you would need for any film or television show. That includes making the actresses pretty or ugly or whatever it may be, all the way to dead bodies and creatures and monsters and everything. So, and also props. Yes. So
I don't think most people realize how many films actually get filmed in Wilmington. And so it's like a full-on studio over on Markets. Is it Market Street?
23rd Street.
23rd Street.
Yeah. It's so for those that don't know the history, back in like 1983 or 84. Well, let me go back. There's a place up in High Point, I believe it is, called EO Studios. Earl Owensby started it, and he was like the drive-in king. He would make these things. He had like a plaque, from what I hear, or a stone in the pathway to go to the studio that said, this studio's never lost a dime. And it was true, because he'd make everything super cheap and just take them out to the drive-in circuit. So there's a lot of people that were up there working on his movies that kind of cut their teeth on it. And then in 1983 or 84, Dino De Laurentiis, a famous Italian filmmaker, was looking for a place to build a studio. He had a Stephen King project called Firestarter. So they were scouting all over the place, and he really loved Wilmington. So they came here and they made the first movie here, which was Firestarter. And from that, it just kind of rolled into building the studio. And a lot of the people from EO moved down here with them. And there's guys that I work with today that in their 20s actually helped build the studio on 23rd Street.
And then they just did like a full-on expansion out there, or someone came in.
So, yes, what ended up it's changed hands numerous times since I've been in the industry. But the latest, for the longest time, it was Screen Gems.
That's right.
And it was about a year and a half ago, maybe
Something,
2.
I want to say closer to 2 now.
Yeah, probably 2. A company came in called Cinespace and bought all of Screen Gems, because I think the Screen Gems was family owned, and I think the family was basically getting up there in age and wanting to retire. And they had studios here, New York, Florida, and I want to say Atlanta. And I think Cinespace bought all of them but Atlanta. I can't remember. But so, yeah, they came in, and several years ago, another gentleman that lives here that had a lot of space. He I think, and I may be talking out of my ass, but I think he started in the mattress business. So he had this huge warehouse. And then there was a point where so many projects were coming into Wilmington that there was no room at Screen Gems. So he decided that, let me take all these mattresses out of these warehouses and turn them into sound stages. And he basically launched Dark Horse Studios. So we have 2 studios here in town.
That's super cool. And it's crazy that they picked Wilmington for that. I guess for everyone listening, drop some names that have been filmed here in Wilmington. I only know a couple.
So let's start with some of the early stuff, which, again, I only got into the industry in 92 or 93. But prior to me, there was Sleeping with the Enemy, Blue Velvet, Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, the original one.
Okay. One Tree Hill, right?
One Tree Hill,
Dawson's Creek.
Dawson's Creek.
And then once I got into it, my very first movie was actually The Crow.
Nuh-uh. That was filmed here?
Mhm.
It was.
Yep.
Yeah.
I did not know that.
Yeah. And I'll tell you an interesting story once we get into it. But I got hired after the accident that happened on set. And for those of you that don't know, there was a tragic accident where a gun went off that had a real bullet in it and ended up killing Brandon Lee, the star of the movie. And basically, they shut the production down, didn't know if they were going to finish the movie. Months later, they got the blessing from the family, the whole 9 yards, and came back to finish the movie. And they used stunt doubles to, they had gotten most of his stuff, but that's when I got hired onto it. Green as shit, didn't know what the hell I was doing. A friend of mine, a guy named Jeff Goodwin, he was somebody I'd met years prior, and I knew he did makeup in the film industry. And some of the movies I mentioned earlier, he did. And he used to come in all the time to this video store that I worked in. And I just bugged the shit out of him. And at one point he said, I'll apprentice you if you save enough to live off of 6 months. I was like, okay, great. So I don't think he thought I would do it, but I'm pretty tenacious when I want something. So I did. And that led to me apprenticing with him. And shortly after that, he actually got The Crow, but left for another project before it started. So after the tragedy, crew comes back. A lot of them didn't come back. So he called me up one day. He's like, hey, do you want to work on The Crow? And I'm a huge comic book fan.
Yeah.
And I knew the comic book. So I'm like, hell yes, I do. So
that was your official job, or your first official,
yes,
like on your own?
Yeah, I was there for 2 or 3 weeks. And I've recently watched the movie again in probably the last 5 years. And it's kind of insane how much I was involved in it, because there was a lot of stuff. Obviously, when Brandon was around, they shot as much with him as they could. So there's so much stuff that didn't involve him that had been put on the back burner that I was involved in. And I'm like, wow, I remember doing that and doing that and doing that. And again, I wish I wasn't so green, because I could have enjoyed it. I was just scared shitless.
Right.
So,
Yeah.
You've been there.
I have been there. My first movie was, well, I'm trying to calibrate like how much shade I can throw at people. But you haven't seen it. But I was basically a one-person department. This was in 2014. It was, a low budget made for TV movie, but it was just me. And I had the privilege of working with Michael Ironside, who was excellent man, excellent actor, and the bad guy in like every 80s movie. And he could tell that I was freaking out. Like I was doing this thing that I'd been dreaming of doing, but I wasn't really enjoying it because there was all this pressure. And I was applying a slit throat to him, and he kept poking me in the stomach and being like, "Hey, it's okay, kid. Look, you're in the circus now. Yeah, but like it's fun. Enjoy it. No one's gonna die if you put this on wrong. It's okay." I was like, "Oh, thank you. Oh my god." But yeah, that was fun.
So did both of you guys have a passion for the makeup and all this stuff
I
with the
can
film?
say on my end, yes, absolutely.
Yeah.
So before she was my wife, when I met the lady I did marry, took her over to my mom's house, and she did the obligatory thing of, let's pull out photo albums.
Right.
And I did not remember this until I saw the photo, but there's a photo of me about 6 years old, and Toys R Us used to sell a thing called Making Faces. It was basically a makeup kit, and there's a picture of me doing up my sister as like a tiger or something. And I didn't realize it had been ingrained in me that early. But what really set it off, and again, I never, even moving from New York to Wilmington, where there was a studio, I never thought it would be a possibility for a living. But I had a friend in high school that was really into this stuff, and we used to make stuff in his kitchen out of crap and make these little movies, short films of like Freddy Krueger and things like that. He's really the one who got me my passion back into it. And then, like I said, I met Jeff and bugged him, and here I am 30 something years later.
Mm-hmm. The makeup specific thing for me was sort of a later evolution, but the movie passion was definitely always there. My mom likes to talk about when I was 5 years old, following around the little stray cat that lived around our trailer, making a movie about him. But the real like cementation of all those things or whatever happened in 2001. Yeah, 2001 December, movie theater. Enya starts singing, the light goes up, and you see 3 words, directed by Peter Jackson. Like Fellowship of the Ring was the moment where I was like, this is my whole life, movies. And I actually came to Wilmington, as many do, saying, I'm a writer director, I'm special, I love movies. It turns out I realized very quickly in film school that so did the 30 other people in that intro to film class. And it was like, I'm not as special as I thought I was. I better figure out some kind of pivot here. And then, I've always loved monsters and physical art, and the makeup thing kind of evolved out of that. And then now years later has turned into a really fun job. But I think I would say it seems to me that most people who start doing any kind of film related thing and then continue doing it, there has to be some kind of passion behind it, because it's not
1000%. Honestly, I get a lot of people throughout the years coming to me saying, I really want to get into this. And the first thing I tell them is
you gotta love it.
It's not a job, it is a lifestyle. Because it really is like being in the circus, like you said. It's for one, it's never steady work. You get hired onto a movie and work on it as long as it goes, and then you may not work for 6 months. That's happened, and it's actually happening right now. Right now, it's very slow. So, it's something that, the thing is, I remember after leaving The Crow, I went back to my job, and I lasted maybe 2 weeks, and I was like, I can't do this. It gets in your blood, and that's it. So, I left my job and took the plunge, and like I said,
and then created this company.
Yeah, the company. So the guy I mentioned, Jeff Goodwin, he apprenticed me. We became really good friends. I think originally the idea was he's going to apprentice me and then I'd just go off on my own. But we became really good friends and ended up working together for since I got into the business until the early 2000s. His wife was from Italy, so he ended up moving to Italy and split the team up. But he and I started a makeup effects shop back in the mid 90s. I think we were working on a TV series called American Gothic, and we are shooting on the cemetery on Princess Place Drive. And there was a building across the street that had a for sale sign on it. So he goes over there, comes back. Oh my God, it's perfect for a lab. So we ended up starting that. But the problem back then was nobody in the United States had tax incentives, which is now a big thing. Now every studio, every project chases the best tax incentive. That never existed back then. So back then, what we were fighting is most of these projects are born in Los Angeles, and a lot of the makeup effects places were in Los Angeles. So they just hire whoever they wanted before they even decided where they're going to shoot the movie. So we were always behind the eight ball as far as getting the projects we really wanted because somebody else had been hired. So when he moved to Italy, we shut it down. I continued working and would do like pop-up effects things. Like if I get hired on a show in Charleston, I just do something in the warehouse where they have us. And then tax incentives became a whole thing, and it changed the landscape both in a good way and a bad way. The good way, in my opinion, it all of a sudden became a thing where the producers and the studios and the networks now looked at where they're going to shoot and what resources are there, because the way most of the tax incentives are, the more local you hire, the better rebate you get.
Oh, okay. I was wondering how I didn't.
Yeah. So that changed a lot.
Which threw more work towards you guys, right?
Well, it was so here's the thing. When the whole tax incentive thing happened, it wasn't like a blanket national one. Every state has their own. And it seemed like for the longest time, every friggin' state had one except North Carolina. And the whole thing with that was, well, we have a studio and the crew. They're going to come anyway. And that's bullshit. They did not. It literally, at the end of the day, is all about the money. And essentially, they'd pull us out. I mean, I worked all over the place except Wilmington for years. They'd pull us out to where they're shooting. So they'd have the crew, but they'd find like, an abandoned Lowe's food or whatever and turn that into the sound stage and build sets in there. So it didn't matter that the studio existed. So cut to 2018, 19. Actually, let me backtrack and mention one of my business partners, Tony Rosen. I'd been introduced to him, God, I can't even remember, 15 years prior. And he was working at a craft shop in town. Mm-hmm. And I bumped into him after I hadn't met him through a mutual friend. He said he's a really talented makeup effects guy. I was like, great. He had just moved here with his wife and a baby. And he was working, at this craft place. And I went in there to get something one day and bumped into him. Like, hey, let me show you something. And he went back into his locker and came out with this sculpture that was influenced by John Carpenter's The Thing, which was this mangled, ridiculous monster. And my jaw hit the floor. And I'm like,
he's a pretty good sculptor.
Yeah, it's insane. And I'm like, what the hell are you doing working in a retail store? But at the time, this is after Jeff had moved, I still didn't have the size team to bring him on board. So we kind of fell out for a little while, didn't really hear from him. And then I got hired onto a movie called The Conjuring, which shot here. And the prop guy is a friend of mine, and he called me and said, hey, the director wants this doll. Can you do it? And I'm like, I'm prepping the movie itself. I don't have time, but give Tony Rosen a call. So he did. And to my chagrin, it ended up being the Annabelle doll from The Conjuring.
Oh my gosh.
And when I say my chagrin, I'm like, son of a bitch. It's like become an iconic thing.
And he did that?
He created it.
Created, designed, and created the Annabelle doll for The Conjuring.
Yeah. It was pretty insane. And I still give him shit because I was like, you owe me a beer for that. Still hasn't given me a beer.
Probably a couple more beers.
Yeah.
Right?
So
and spin-off beers and sequel beers.
Yeah.
Do you guys have the original, or do you let the film?
Usually, most of these things, the studios end up keeping. Some of them end up, in somebody's office, but sadly, a lot of the stuff we've made will end up in a storage unit somewhere in wherever, and just sit, and it's a shame.
Yeah.
So, I know. I want to say James Wan, who directed The Conjuring, actually has the original, but we have one in our shop. So that came out of the original molds and all that.
And half-scale ones for sale. Bearded Skulls, makeupeffects.com.
We do. So anyway, cut to after The Conjuring. Again, I kind of fell out of touch with him and really didn't see him for years, and thought, because he had a baby, this is a really tough business to get into as a young person who just starts a family. It's very taxing. So I just figured he gave up and moved because I hasn't seen him for a while. 2019, me and the guys got hired onto a series for DC. They were doing their own streaming service. It didn't last long, but they were doing a TV series based on the comic book Swamp Thing. So we got hired onto that, and amazing experience. But one day, a lot of it was shot out at the sound stages and Screen Gems. And I happened to be walking by one of the sound stages, and I looked in there and I see Tony, and he's helping the art department sculpt these massive trees out of styrofoam, and then they coat them and make them look like real trees. I'm like, what the hell are you doing here? So we just started talking, and I took him over and introduced him to the makeup effects guys. They brought him in for a few things. And right after Swamp Thing wrapped, this was 2020 at this point. We got hired on a project that was a series based on the movie Lost Boys.
Did that air?
It did not.
Okay.
So this is why.
This is why.
We were a week into shooting and COVID hit, and it shut down and never came back, which is a shame. So Swamp Thing, Lost Boys, they're all genre things, uses our skill sets. COVID hits, we're down for however long it was. And then the first movie that was shot here right after COVID was Scream 5. And we were hired to do all the makeup and all the makeup effects on it. So that's when I was like, finally, brought Tony in. He actually had helped make some of the teeth for the vampires for Lost Boys, but short-lived. So I was like, finally, I can bring him in. And then did some amazing work that I'm really proud of on that. Because the Scream franchise, most of the kills he can attest to it. Most of the kills are just stab, stab, stab. And we wanted to do a few different things. And it was a directing duo. And we pitched them some ideas, and they're like, hell yeah, let's do that. So we did some out of the norm effects for a Scream movie. And actually got some, great press for it.
I believe that neck one was on a few best kill of the year lists. Those lists.
So we did this gag. Again, Jeff was still with us at that time. He's now retired and moved to New Jersey. But before my time with him, he had actually done the movie Rambo 3. And there was a sequence in Rambo 3 that he has this shard of wood shoot through his side, and he pulls it out.
I remember this scene.
Takes the bullet, puts and lights it on fire to cauterize the wood.
Yeah.
So he had done that. Jeff had done that, and it's cut up in the movie from different angles because they used multiple cameras. But the way it was shot, it was all in one take, and he actually did it kind of as a magic trick. And so when we got Scream, he was like, I kind of want you to use that same idea, but have somebody get stabbed in the neck. But instead of just getting stabbed in the neck, it comes out the other side.
Oh.
So
By the way, you should see the looks we get when we're like, you know, at a sushi restaurant
Oh.
talking about the work for the day or whatever.
I can't tell you how many times we've almost been kicked out of restaurants because, you know, it's norm for us where
Mhm.
we're like, so when we kill this person tonight,
Mhm.
and then, you know, people were sitting there eating their lunch and they're like, what the hell?
She's been dead for 25 years. There's no way they're going to be able to identify her, but you know, let's, yeah.
So, anyhow, we did Scream. Really proud of all that. And then right after that, got hired on Halloween Kills, which shot here. It was the second in the new Halloween
Yep.
trilogy. I say we, it was a handful of us. We were hired as hired guns. It was somebody else's project, but he needed help, so he hired us to be hands-on. Again, I worked on that a couple of weeks and then got another show which was called Georgetown Project. And there's a whole reason I'm being long-winded about this, but Georgetown Project was based on the making of The Exorcist.
Okay.
So it was another genre project. And then right after that, we got hired to do The Black Phone, the original. The sequel just came out. And at that point, I was like, holy shit, we've had nothing but horror projects and things like that. Maybe it's time to open up another, you know, effects studio. And got together with everybody. Jason Willis is another business partner. And we're like, what do you guys think? Yes. It's definitely time. So we launched Bearded Skulls Makeup Effects Group. And the reason it's called Bearded Skulls, for one, all the original guys, and including our friend here, we all have beards. And for the longest time, every time we walked on set, because the other thing about us, which is weird, usually makeup effects is very specialized, where people that do that just do that. People that do regular makeup just do that. There's only a handful of people that do both. Jeff, when I first started working with him, said, I can teach you the makeup effects, which is what I wanted to do, or I can teach you all of it, and you can work on any movie, because not every movie needs effects. I can teach you regular makeup, beauty makeup, corrective makeup, and you can work on whatever it is. So I went that route. But the thing about us is, like, I mean, look at me. I look like a big biker dude. So a lot of times we have these looks from actresses. They walk in, they're like, holy shit, because we're all big, burly, bearded guys. It's, you know. So we ended up getting this nickname of the Beardos. And I also coupled it with the fact that we're in the port city of Wilmington, and it was actually a huge pirate port way back in the day. And I wanted to tie it in with, you know, the pirate history and a bearded skull with crossbones. And that's our logo.
Yeah.
So that's where the name came from.
That's super cool.
Yeah. And then this guy.
I was going to say, we mentioned Black Phone. That's the point in the story where I actually tiptoe into all the shenanigans.
Yeah.
I don't know. Just well, so I sometimes joke that you know, I was just like delivering something and they kidnap me and keep me in a cage. But the real thing is, from my perspective anyway, it was just kind of a squeaky wheel gets the grease type thing. We're like,
well, no, actually, no.
Okay.
Maybe so Jeff kept coming to me saying, you got to see this guy Matt Barrett's work. And
you were in Wilmington in college at this point, or were you out? Where did you?
In Wilmington, in college, in the sense that I turned a 2-year program into like a 4-year one.
Most Wilmington people do.
Yeah, and I had a phone call with my mom around that time, and she was like, "Wait a minute, how long have you been? No, nothing, Mom. Don't worry about it. Because you know, with this stuff, I mean, I've never once have had someone ask, do you have a degree? It's all, you know, connections and show me your work and that sort of thing. Anyway, I digress. I was still in the college era, mixing stuff in my room and figuring out ways to use the materials that I had access to and working on indie projects.
But I think you met Jeff out of all of us first. And he kept coming to me, and it was the same situation with Tony, where I already had the team and didn't have room for yet one more. Until we opened the shop, and we're like, you know, we can use more hands. and called him up and actually, as he said, can we see some of your work? And he showed us some of his work. And the thing was, it was all really good, but the stuff you were making all this stuff out of is the stuff that I used to do as a kid, which is like latex and cotton and toilet paper and all the bubble gum and duct tape.
Yeah.
But it
So
looks
you didn't have like legit supplies yet. So you
No,
were just
well, and
kinda-
also the scale of the projects I was working on. I felt like I was working up to stuff, but we're still talking about extremely limited budgets and only using things that you could get from the craft store or whatever. So,
but that was the thing, is he's making these things that legit looked fantastic out of nothing. So I was like,
thank you.
yeah, let's come on. So the thing is, everybody that's in our shop at the FX studio brings a different skill set, all complementary. So it really is kind of unique in that way, where there isn't anything we can't do as far as makeups, props. And recently we've gotten into 3D scanning, 3D printing. So it's a whole new world.
That's really, when you combine the like older school things and the newer things, and especially digital and practical, it's not just makeup and makeup effects. Really, at this point, we're a creation company. Like, we can make anything. So, which is great for that instability in the film world, because everyone needs something,
Right.
So we can service a much wider range of
like, we got that covered. We have that covered.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Yeah. So when we started the shop, we were in this little studio. It was 1,200 square feet. We outgrew it the minute we walked in.
Mhm.
But there was a point where there was so much stuff in there. Everything from the materials we need to make all this stuff out of to, all the bodies and things like that we did get to keep along the way. And this was right at 2023, 24. We had been open a year and a half, 2 years. And the film industry shut down again.
Once again.
Not for COVID this time, but the writers and actors went on strike.
I really picked a hell of a time to quit my job.
You did?
No, honestly, he I remember he'd come by the shop every once in a while, and then at one point we had this project that we're gonna start right away. So he quits his job because we're gonna start this project. Just so you know, to this day, that project hasn't been made yet.
Yeah.
So he quits his job and nothing. So,
but tying back into that original thing about the passion, it's one of those deals where, it's going to suck sometimes, but once you know what you're about, what choice is there?
Right.
So
you can't go back, because now you've dived into, which with them going on strike led you to another thing, which is what you're wearing currently.
Yes.
And this is how we kind of all met,
Right.
was through after this adventure. But so you guys decided to, can I
yeah, absolutely.
Okay. Go into like a whole haunted house downtown Wilmington.
Yes.
Which led into a whole lot of other things that
it did. And we're very thankful for all of it. So ever since I entered or actually was a little kid, but entered the film industry, I've always wanted to do a haunted house. But the thing is, there's so much prep going into it that thankfully I was always busy during the months that we're going to have to build everything. So when the industry shut down, for one, nobody thought it was going to last as long as it did.
No.
We thought it would be a couple of weeks, maybe a month. It was months and months and months and months. And then when it was all resolved, it was still months and months and months before
jobs got started.
Pick back up.
It was a long time.
Like, I guess we have time to do that haunted house thing.
Well, you should tell the story, because we did do a little indie horror movie, and there's a local actor that was working on the movie, and I'll let you go from there.
So we had, Tony and I were there boots on the ground for this indie movie called The Confession, which actually comes out
Soon.
Yeah. But we were applying makeup on the actor. His name's Justin Smith. He's a local businessman and actor and general patron of the arts type character. But we were discussing some of the potential things on the horizon. There was another show at the time. I'm blanking on the name now, but he was waiting to hear if he was going to have a role in that. And anyway, we were talking about one thing and the other, and he happened to mention that he had always been interested in doing haunted house stuff. And Tony and I had just been hanging out in our tent talking about the very same thing. Like, I was getting all fired up because Tony was laying out why it was such a good idea, and realizing that it's the perfect way to scratch the itch, because you're still making all the gross stuff that brought you here in the first place. It's just not for a movie. But anyway, I perked up at that, and so immediately went into, oh, really? And had this great conversation with Justin. We got very excited about the possibility. And what I keep remembering now is Justin was like, okay, let's meet. Let's talk about the possibility here. And then he left the tent, and I turned and looked at Tony and winked, and he was like, why are you doing that? I was like, never mind.
What are you doing, dude?
So from that, it led to all of us kind of getting together and coming up with an idea to move forward with this haunted house. And we don't do anything easy ever. So it wasn't your traditional haunted house where you have, Jason and Freddy Krueger and the guy chasing you in the parking lot with a chainsaw. Matt, going back to his writer-director hat, actually came up with this amazing idea, because our original venue was this abandoned church on Market Street, and they had started revamping it to be a restaurant, and whoever was involved with it pulled out. So it's this amazing looking church that at one point had a fire in it, so there's like bricks that are charred black. So we were like, this is amazing. So Matt came up with this great idea for a haunted house as far as a story for it, because at one point we all decided, I guess, or did it happen naturally, but we all decided it was going to be story driven.
Yeah, we, especially coming at stuff from the perspective of like movies, like Rick said, we didn't want to use existing IP, like characters that you have seen in other movies, or costumes that you could go and get at the store, because
that's just not what you do.
No.
It's not what we do. It's not what we wanted to provide for people. They've seen that before, and so we treated it basically like we were going into production on a movie that we just weren't going to film. We had like story Bibles, and we had history and like production design plans and a cohesiveness in the look of stuff. The idea, or the desired idea, was you're providing people a situation where they feel like they've slipped into a movie, and so and I think we were successful at achieving some of those things, but that's definitely something at the heart of what we want to do moving forward. Is It's not it's a artisanal haunt experience.
Yes. When you said that, I was like, that's perfect, because it is. It was just. So I have a place up in the mountains in Western North Carolina, and there's a ton of haunted houses up there compared to down this way. And my wife and I used to go. We're huge Halloween fans. Our wedding anniversary is Halloween. So whenever we went up there, we'd go to everyone we could get to. And there's some really elaborate ones, but I have to say what we ended up doing, I'd never been to one like it. Proud to say. We had to scramble, though. We ended up losing the church because of the fire department. So we ended up in this warehouse off of Princess Street in the Soda Pop district. The thing with that was we went from this church that already had some existing structure to a wide open 10,000 square foot warehouse.
A lot less walls to work with all of a sudden. Yeah.
And an old friend of mine that actually worked with Justin a lot at the Opera House Theater, he builds a lot of sets for him. A guy named Terry, who's incredibly talented, and every time he built a set for the Opera House, and when they struck it when the show was done, he just slid all the walls in storage and then brought them all to the warehouse to build the haunt with that. So it was cobbled together from so many things.
Mm-hmm.
It was not our original vision, but it ended up being really cool.
Yeah.
Really successful. And to this day, I mean, years later, people are still saying, guys, come back, do another one.
I got social media notifications on the way here asking about, like, how do I buy tickets for it this year? Like,
yeah.
I should probably put that at the top of the website. Not open right now.
Yeah.
But
so
coming.
Port City Fear Factory came out of that. Mm-hmm. Another thing that happened, like I said, we were in this small shop making all this stuff on top of one another. This is after the haunt, but our landlord came and said, I know you guys want to expand. And this was during the strikes. After the haunt, but during the strikes, no work. And he's like, there's this place, a couple of complexes over that he manages. You want to come take a look at it? And we did, and it was perfect. It's twice the size, and the entire back, which we didn't have at our old shop, had heating and air conditioning, which is huge. So that all played into Port City and a few other things where we were, the three partners sat down and were like, how the hell are we going to do this? And we went back and forth for like a week debating it. And I eventually said, you know what? We're either going to have to do one of two things. We shut this thing down because we can't really function in this space. Put everything in storage and go back to the way it used to be, where production hires us. We go into wherever, somebody's garage or kitchen, and we make all the shit. Or we take a chance on ourselves because the company had enough money to cover, because our overhead went up drastically. Had enough money to cover for a couple of months. But one of the conversations we had was, because we can't rely on the film industry, we have to diversify our skill sets into other things. One of them was the haunt, because it was so successful.
Right.
Another thing is we're working with a guy that does moulage training for the military, and we're making.
Which I saw a little bit of that. That was super cool.
Yeah. And I mean, that was 2 years of R&D with him, and now he's finally gotten to the point where he's like, yeah, let's do this.
Let's do it.
So yeah, we have diversified and not relying on the film industry. Still want that to be
super cool.
Yeah, the thing, but this became a huge passion, I have to say. I feel like, well, he pointed it out, Matt did one day, where he's like, AI is probably going to affect the film industry and so many other things. Live entertainment's not going to go away.
Yeah.
So,
and in fact, as all that stuff increases, I think there'll be more of a desire for live entertainment. I mean, the expression you hear now is "go touch grass." Like get disconnected from the digital world. And I think that to make this bigger topic into a little soundbite, there's going to be AI generated art and movies and stuff like that.
Of course.
I think that technology is going to plateau in a way where whatever word you want to put on it, spirit, soul, whatever, you're not going to be able to engage with the art in a way that is actually satisfying to you.
Correct.
So it'll be great to sit down and watch whatever the new version of Netflix is, where you can AI generate a sci-fi story with yourself and Marlon Brando and Marilyn Monroe or whatever. That's fun, but there's a novelty to it that's not speaking to the soul. Not that we'll always speak to the soul at Port City Fear Factory, but like
maybe take your soul.
Maybe take your soul. But the desire to actually feel and experience is going to be something that doesn't scratch. So I feel like it's a good thing for us to invest in now.
Yeah.
And still do our art and not be dependent on the whims of another industry.
No, I think it's perfect. Like how many things have came up in your businesses and how you guys pivot so, not maybe smoothly, but so fast or diversify, which I think is huge.
There's that, but I mean, it's part of the film industry where, for one, the thing I love about working in movies, no day is the same. Mm-hmm. You're in different locations, you have different challenges to meet. So you're always thinking ahead and pivoting and figuring stuff out on the run.
Even down to the effect. I mean, how many times have we cut a throat but each time is a little bit different because
Yeah.
you're solving a different puzzle given on new circumstances, or each time.
Yeah.
So
Yeah. So it's ingrained in us to pivot.
mm,
So yeah, the if I can backtrack, and I don't know if we have time, but if I can backtrack a bit, during the haunt, uh, there's a guy that is starting a studio up towards Raleigh, and a mutual friend of ours had given him my number because most of the movies he wants to make would require our skill sets. So he had called me and said, "Hey, can I come down and see your shop?" And this is when we were in the smaller shop in the middle of putting the haunted house on. And he came down with his business partner, and I gave him a tour of the shop very quickly. I said, "Look, you're more than welcome to join me, but I have to go open this haunted house."
Mhm.
So they came with me, and it was before opening hours, and I basically gave them a tour through the whole thing with the lights on. And apparently, somewhere in there, I don't even remember it. I said, "We would love to have a place that is like a permanent location to have haunts." Left it at that and really didn't even think about it. Just was in conversation, and cut to about 4 or 5 months later, I get a call, and I look at my phone, and I don't know who it is, but the name's in my phone, so it must be somebody. So I let it go to voicemail, and it was him saying, "Hey, we're good to go. Give me a call back. We're ready." And I'm like, "What the hell are you talking
Mhm.
about?" So I called him back. Um, him and his business partners have a huge warehouse space that they were going to turn into something completely different. And he was like, "No, you guys need to meet these guys." So we went up there, met with them, told them what we had done with it, the haunt, and they were like, "Let's do it." So we started talking to them about doing a haunted destination there, where it's kind of a sequel to our haunt. Story wise, there's going to be a haunted house. There's going to be spooky laser tag and spooky miniature golf, and the miniature golf is going to be more towards kiddie friendly, kind of like
Yeah.
haunted match.
But this will be open year round.
That's the plan. Yeah.
That is part of the really, I guess if we went through and listed each different thing, we probably shouldn't, because it's a little bit like how you're not supposed to tell people you're pregnant for the
Right.
first 3 months. But there are a lot of different things, that being one of them, where this is going to expand into kind of like a multi-experience company. You know what I mean? Like, we want to do haunt stuff like Chapel of Horrors. We want to do more elaborate stuff like that, and then a couple of other things that we'll see how they go. Wink. And eventually, like, multimedia stuff. I think again, back to the core passion there for filmmaking and story and all that sort of stuff. It'd be really great if, with this new IP that we're making, we also made movies that could play nationwide, and someone in California sees a slasher movie about one of the characters that we made, and then they're like, "Wait, I can go to an event that."
To be honest, that's one of those things that got me really excited. Because one day all the creatures we had made were stacked one behind the other, all the way to the back of the shop. And at that point, I had been in the office for 3 weeks trying to organize a whole other end of it, and that's a whole nother story. But I remember, having not been back there for a while, I walked back with fresh eyes, and I was like, "Holy shit!"
It all hits you. Yeah,
we have created something that is our IP. It is,
Yeah.
So yeah, then we started talking about, well, we own this IP. Why not start? The plan is, we want to make a trailer for something, find investors, do the first movie, but then have it roll into all these live, entertainment things.
I love it.
It's all symbiotic,
yeah,
and synergetic.
And there might be something coming to V&V Farms.
Could be.
Could be.
Yeah.
For the future.
Yeah.
Something I haven't seen anywhere else that has been talked about.
May or may not be a new crazy obsessive story binder being developed right now.
Yeah. No, I'm very excited about it, because actually, you guys approached us. We originally talked about doing a haunted house, but we were actually in the shop for several weeks. We were very fortunate to get hired onto the new series Dexter Resurrection.
Yeah.
So we're all in the shop throwing ideas around, and Matt and Tony had come to your place at V&V Farms and came back just like, oh my God, you can't believe it.
Mhm.
So I was asking them, well, what's out there? And rather than build something right off the bat, is there stuff we can use out there? And it kind of snowballed into this idea that we're going to hopefully do very soon.
Yeah.
And it is very unique.
Mhm.
It's going to be fun. Super
Yeah.
fun. I don't want to give away too many details.
Yeah, I was going
right?
to say,
Yeah.
Stay tuned.
Stay tuned.
Yeah.
All right. Halloween's a couple days away. Tell me your favorite either project, Halloween. What's your favorite part?
Oh man, this isn't exactly the answer, but something I just thought of is every year, and one day I'm going to break this cycle. But you go to a party and you tell people like, "Oh, I'm a makeup effects artist," and then they look at what you're wearing and they're like, "Sure." There's never time to make a costume
For yourself.
For
worthy.
yourself, yeah.
And like I've got plenty of plans, but I always end up like the one the other night. I just had a shark costume on, just in a broken zipper.
It was a Target shark.
Last year's shark costume. Yeah.
They're like, and you do what for a living?
See, when you got something on like that, you don't lead with the like, I've worked on Dexter. It's like, okay, buddy, sure. So my favorite thing is the one that I haven't done yet. I'm going to do a really cool Halloween costume one day.
Okay.
And I love it now in the hope that I can manifest it in the future.
This is so Matt.
Yeah.
Very.
Mm.
Yeah. On my end, it's weird and cliche to say, but I live Halloween every day. If you see my house, it's decorated. I mean, have you been to my house? I don't think you have.
Not that close, huh?
There's
Jeez.
skulls
Yeah, all
and
the time.
skeletons and creepy things all over the place.
Of course it does.
So yeah, I mean, I
So you
love
live Halloween every single day
Yeah,
to the fullest.
I love Halloween. It's the thing that makes me the happiest. I mean, I know for a fact that every Halloween or when the season comes up, when I walk into a store and see Halloween stuff, I feel that endorphin hit.
Mhm.
It makes me happy.
I
So
love it. Well, I love that you guys came on today, and your story, I knew it was going to be cool, but it's even cooler being told today because I didn't know hardly any of this.
Mhm.
So super, I don't know. It just was so good. And I know you came, you're like, what are we going to talk about? I'm like, what aren't we going to talk about? We didn't even get to waterfront and all that stuff that I got to see.
I
So
was going to say, now I actually feel like we were just starting to scratch into stuff.
I
and then it's
know,
like, oh,
I
time to
know.
go.
hey, maybe we'll come back sometime.
yes, we'll have to do part 2.
Yeah.
Cool.
Maybe when we're closer to launching your.
All right. Oh, yes. Yeah.
Mhm.
And I was going to say, like, the only date that's still left in 2026 is Halloween weekend for a wedding. No one has booked Halloween for a
Weird.
wedding. Yeah.
Hmm.
Like,
Aside from the other project
Uh-huh.
we're doing with you, why don't we
Do
think
something
about
Yeah.
something
Okay.
that a package you can sell that is a
There-
haunted wedding.
That's interesting.
that would be cool.
Hmm.
Stay tuned. Check us. Where can they find you guys at?
In the shadows,
Yeah.
down dark alleys.
We have a website if you want to check it out. It is beardedskullsmufx.com.
Mhm. Also, if you just search Bearded Skulls makeup or whatever on Instagram, you can find that, which has website and
Yeah, nowadays with social media, it's more
Mhm.
Instagram because
Social media.
we're so visual. It's pictures
Yeah.
all the time. And then Port City Fear Factory.
portcityfearfactory.com, and then same deal. And I believe a lot of those accounts kind of tie into each other.
They do.
So
Yeah.
you
I was
know,
trying. Let's
so-
Google. And then you can find me at Yvonne Verity on Facebook and Instagram, and go check out V&V Farms. And maybe there was going to be a Halloween package deal for a wedding soon on there. So go check it out.